So today, lots of little projects. Now that the upper sills are installed, there's still a lot of work left to do to drill and anchor them, but they're at least up and somewhat secure. I'm a little worried about the sun hitting them today. I don't think it's going to get very warm, so hopefully they don't do any funky business in the sun until we get them anchored down. So this beam has been patiently waiting for us to get those sill plates up. And the reason we had to wait is we need to adjust the height of this beam to be in line with the plane of the sill plates. That's why we didn't put the posts in right away. So today, or this morning, I'm hopefully going to get the plate that goes on top of the steel beam installed, and it's just a 2x6 that runs across the top, and that will be the bearing surface for our floor joists, our I-joists. That will be the measurement they will use to determine the height of the beam matching the sill plates. And then the other factor, or the other thing that we're trying to figure out, I guess, is the depth of the beam. So we have a little wiggle room back there in the pocket. What we need to do is get a string that stretches this direction on the building where our rim board will terminate. And this beam goes right up to the edge of the rim board and does not go past. So that will be the other thing that we need to get set. Once those two things are set, and then we actually need to get the sill plates down here on the slab. But one of the most critical is underneath this post. This post here is going to bear on a sill plate located about there. Then we can begin the installation of the posts that will support this beam and get rid of these tripod thingy-majiggers. So that's going to take probably all day if we can get that far. Be nice to get these sill plates done, the posts in, the beam actually in place. Before we can remove these tripod thingamajiggers though, we need to get our rim board installed and a couple, well, probably at least 3 I-joists installed and secured or fastened to the beam, just so it has no desire to do this. That's why we built these tripods, was to keep the beam from doing this, and of course to support it also. So a bit of Tetris, trying to get all these pieces put in the right order. So this morning I'm going to work on getting these sill plates together. Alyssa's hammering out some video. She's getting tired, guys. She's getting tired, and I don't blame her. I think she's somewhere around 60 consecutive videos with only 1 day break. one. That plate is installed. I'm kind of worried this is gonna fall off the backside. This plate on the beam needs to be flush with our sill plate. So it looks to me like we need to raise our beam plate somewheres around, it's not a full inch because this board is actually bowing. Let's try turning this on its edge. So it looks like maybe about 7/8 of an inch. So we'll be shimming down here to bring this up. And then of course on the other ends, we've got the adjustable bolts. I think instead of trying to shim 7/8, these are 1x, and so their nominal thickness is actually 3/4 of an inch. So we'll probably use shims beneath them to create a barrier between the concrete and this wood, and then we'll shim this up underneath the steel there. I think that'll work pretty nice. So what I need your help with is two things. One, this floor jack down here, we're going to be using that with this 2x4 to lift this. Okay. And then I'm going to be placing these two wood blocks underneath there. And then what that's going to do is the beam is no longer going to be resting on that middle leg. Yep. Yeah, so it's going to be kind of unstable. And then we'll work our way to the other end and we'll raise that up and adjust that leg, and then we'll come back and adjust the center leg. And we'll need to just take a little time with that because yeah, it's beam's very heavy. Okay, gentle. Easy. A little bit more. Okay, good. A little bit more. Okay, let's go ahead and just gently let it down, which means very slowly move that valve. It's gonna kind of pop. Okay, let's bring that down, and easy. According to this, we're just a smidge high. It's pretty dang level across there, and it's way too high over there, and it's sitting on that, so. Oh, tolerances. Why must you be so tolerancy? That's fine. You don't need to tighten that down, it's fine. Okay, good. So then let's bring the jack down here and see if we can get that wood block on the jack now. Let's come up maybe 1.25 inches. Let's try that, so let's adjust those legs now. Okay, that's good. Oh yeah, it's way tilted. So I'm tempted to have you just let it down nice and slow, and let's see if it kind of levels back out here. That's pretty dead on. Okay. So now a couple things can happen. Actually, why don't we, before I let you go again, we need to actually measure to make sure it's in the right spot. I'm pretty sure that we took a lot of pain in putting this beam in the middle of these. Like we put these where they're supposed to go. So if the beam is sitting in the middle of them, then in theory, the beam is where it's supposed to go. And what we need to do is just measure out here and then measure in there. So we're going for 19 6.5, okay. But I'm gonna cut a foot. Okay. So to the outside of this. To the middle of the, okay. Is that ladder in a really bad spot? It is, but it's okay. Okay, so we need to come to me at 1 1/4 inches. So in order to do that, we can do one of two things. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to measure that end of the beam. Yep, make sure it's in the right spot. Because that end of the beam may be too far this way, which would cause this to happen. So why don't we do that? That'll save us time. Okay. Well, after a little bit of a scare, we moved something when we were measuring, and we did some jacking, and we moved that beam over to its position on the north wall. And then I don't know what we moved. Well, actually, I know what happened is when we first put these crotches on, we had done some guesstimating about how much we would need to raise the beam, yada, yada, yada. And it turns out we raised the beam a lot higher than we thought we would have to. So what happened is the beam came out of those crotches on the top, so then there's really nothing keeping it laterally stable. And it was tipsy. I'll just say that. It was ready to just roll off those things, and boy, I don't even know. Alyssa scrambled, and we got a cleat on the back right quick, so that helped. And then she moved the crotches up, and that helped. Holy smokes. Yeah, a little exciting. No camera work there. The good news is, by adjusting the measurement on this wall, this measurement came true. The only thing is, we have still one more measurement that we haven't set, and that's the depth. Why don't you pull tight and tell me how far past the end of the beam we are.
Now?
Yeah.
Almost half an inch.
Half an inch. It's going to be harder to push the beam to you than it is to push it to me.
Okay.
So don't go over, because going that way is going to suck. So try to go extremely light. Good. So to expedite this, let's just run a new tape. Yeah. Look for 36 feet. You should be able to find the crow's foot. So with Alyssa's help, we got the beam positioned correctly. We did have to move the beam out ever so slightly, which was a nuisance. And then we went too far, which I was afraid of. So we were able to convince it to go back. That's awesome. So now I'm thinking, trying to prioritize here. These wing sills up top are pretty high priority because that and this sill plate are holding up the floor framing. These vertical sills and whatnot, those can be added, you know, down the road, meaning in the next couple of days. But it's pretty important to get these wing sills on first. The other day we did a whole bunch of math to try to figure out these dimensions. So it looks like this sill plate is 31 3/4. I think I'm gonna go back through and double check all this math here. So I've got a diagram here too. So now's the moment where you find out how poorly you did on your concrete. So this garage door buck, I am 99% confident is not plumb. So I'm going to measure off from this surface 1 inch because I'm working alone, and I'm gonna plumb down and see how far away from the lower wall I am. That's not good. Looks like I need to go even further. That's not far enough. So that means that this garage door is 1 inch out of plumb. It's important because I would like this sill plate here to be plumb. And in order to make sure I've got the correct overhang up top, it's important that I plumb this measurement. The reason that's so critical is that this plate up here on the top of the wall, this is what the measurement should be based on the top of wall measurement. But the top of the wall looks something like this compared to the bottom of the wall. So we need to add 1 inch to this measurement so that our sill here can be plumb. The reason that's important is that this will be what we will be attaching the SIP panels and things to. And ultimately, I think the SIP panels are what we're going to use for the garage door frame. But if we were going to stick frame this, which we're not, but if we were, you'd want to make sure that sill was plumb. I guess you could start plumbing with your studs and be fine. But we'd like to make sure that this is good and true. It'll make it a lot easier when attaching screws and stuff like that instead of having to chase the sill down the wall. And because everything is linked, we're adding 1 inch to this measurement to get us out to plumb, which effectively is going to move this vertical plate out. We're going to need to reduce this measurement on the bottom sill by 1 inch. As it turns out, because we did so much pre-math, we actually have enough plate left over to cut 2 of those upper sill plates out of 1, which is good because this sill plate probably is the best looking of them all. So I'm going to be working on getting this one cut down to size. I'm really glad I forgot to hook the power cord up because it just dawned on me I don't have to cut this with my circular saw. Our chop saw can do this. Oh, that's nice. One cut. Gotta love a sliding compound miter saw. Wish I could do that with a skill saw. attempt number 2. Last one for today. About to run out of daylight again. Well, I think Alyssa's got dinner ready, and it's been a great day, so I'm gonna get these tools picked up before we get dark here. One last bolt to go, and then we're gonna pick up again tomorrow.